I'm Elizabeth Shanahan-Jewett. Welcome to Local Matters. The Plymouth Philharmonic Orchestra celebrates weather on March 6th in The Sound and the Fury, music from Mother Nature. This one-hour concert for all ages will feature special guests Grace Chen, South Shore Conservatory Youth Concerto Competition winner, and Mike Wonkum, WCVB Channel 5 meteorologist. Mike is forecasting an afternoon of bursts of fun, a mix of calm, and a downpour of music inspired by nature. This specially priced concert is a great introduction for anyone new to live orchestral music. The performance begins at 3 p.m. at Plymouth Memorial Hall, and there will be a pre-concert instrument demonstration and opportunity to meet the Phil musicians beginning at 2 o'clock. This presentation, featuring the works of J. Strauss, Beethoven, Rossini, and Rimsky-Korsakov, is participating in Orchestra's Feeding America. Attendees are encouraged to bring non-perishable food items to benefit the Greater Plymouth Food Warehouse. For tickets and more information, visit plymouthphil.org. Do you ever look around your home and wonder what some of your art, mementos, knickknacks, and vintage items are worth? On March 10th, the Kingston Public Library is offering you a chance to find out. From 6 to 8 p.m., join the virtual program, What's It Worth? Ask Mike, the appraiser, with the library and Mike Ivankovich, host of Philadelphia's popular radio show of the same name. This interactive presentation will begin by discussing the factors that can impact the value of an item, and then proceed to appraisals. Mike will evaluate each attendee's treasures one by one and promises that all attendees' items will be appraised by the end of the evening. Throughout, Mike will also share strategies and tips for buying and selling. This free program is sponsored by the Kingston Public Library Foundation, and registration is required. Visit the library's website to reserve your spot. Here's Keith Hughes with an all-new Snapshot.
Welcome to Snapshot, where we take a local look at the government stories that you may have missed. After being closed to the public since March of 2020, the State House will be open to the public every weekday beginning February 22nd. Masks will be required, as well as proof of vaccination or a negative test no more than 1 day before entry. Those requirements will be reviewed on a weekly basis. Legislative leaders expect that some practices introduced over the past 2 years will remain in place, such as live streaming House and Senate sessions and offering virtual access to committee meetings. Last month, the state announced its plan to distribute $500 payments from ARPA funds to 500,000 low-income workers as part of its COVID-19 Essential Employee Premium Pay Program. Created at the end of last year as part of the COVID-19 relief law, workers will be eligible if their 2020 income was at least $12,750 and total income put them below 300% of the federal poverty level. No one who received unemployment in 2020 will be eligible. If you're eligible, you will automatically receive the payment in the form of a check mailed to you by the end of March. If you wish to learn more about the program, visit mass.gov/premiumpay. Following up on a story we brought you at the end of 2021, Nero's bill has now been signed into law by Governor Charlie Baker. Named after canine law enforcement dog Nero, who was wounded in the line of duty in 2018, the law now allows police dogs injured in the line of duty to receive emergency medical services. These include medical interventions as well as transportation to veterinary and emergency hospitals. In a statement, State Representative Steve Exaro said, "I'm so proud, and it's been an incredible journey. I'd like to thank Governor Baker and so many other people for their work to pass this bill. Among them, the House Speaker, Minority Leader, and Chair of Ways and Means and Public Safety, Senator Montigny, the Senate sponsor, and former Representative Will Crocker, who filed this bill last session. My aides, Caitlin and Stewart, and the incredible Gannon family, and the many advocates who pushed hard to see the bill passed." We must remember that this bill, which brings us so much joy, was first inspired out of tragedy. To my former colleagues at Yarmouth Police Department, I'm forever indebted to you and will always be your biggest fan. And we all hold the memory of K-9 Sergeant Sean Gannon and his beloved family close in our hearts and minds. At the February 14th meeting of the Plymouth Charter Commission, Chair Bill Abbott said that the commission is near the end of the phase of listening to evidence and gathering charters from other towns. While it will continue with that process for a bit longer, members will begin to put their thoughts together and discuss what's next. Since being elected last year, the 9-member commission has been meeting regularly, researching other forms of town government and bringing in guest speakers. The commission is planning to have a preliminary draft ready by the fall, with a final one done by November and presented to the Select Board. Residents will have the opportunity to vote on their recommendation in 2023. You can find out more about the Charter Commission and the work it's doing by visiting the town website and selecting Charter Commission under the Boards and Committees tab. In between winter and spring in New England is pothole season, when everyone's attention turns to the conditions of the roads in their town. In their January 26th meeting, the Pembroke Select Board heard a presentation on the town's pavement management program. The purpose of the program is to look at each section of roadway in the town, categorize them into repair or maintenance categories, and put estimated costs to each. The town is currently in the process of prioritizing projects and creating budgets, considering components such as cost-benefit value, existing condition, community needs, and several more. The long-term goal of the program is to get to a point where the town can provide routine maintenance to reduce road repair costs over the long term. If you're interested in viewing the presentation, you can watch the meeting by visiting PACTV.org and selecting the Watch tab. Thanks for watching this edition of Snapshot. I'm Keith Hughes, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Keith. The Eyes of Tammy Faye is a 2021 film that takes an intimate look at the extraordinary rise, fall, and redemption of infamously famous televangelist Tammy Faye Bakker. Starring Jessica Chastain and Andrew Garfield in notable performances, this humanizing story is free to see at the Pembroke Public Library's monthly movie matinee on March 7th from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. Visit the Pembroke Public Library website to learn more. A rising star of the New York jazz scene, Abe Ovadia's career has spanned over 2 decades and has taken him all over the United States. And now, he's coming to Plymouth. Julie invited Abe via Zoom to discuss his upcoming concert at the Plymouth Public Library, as well as his life as a musician and music teacher.
I'm so pleased to welcome jazz guitarist Abe Ovadia today to the program. Abe, lots to talk about with you, but first of all, can you tell me a little bit about what it's like to be a jazz guitarist and how you got to where you are right now?
Being a jazz guitarist is, pretty a wonderful career. I'm in a very privileged position to make the art I love making. This is my favorite genre of music to perform. Having performed so many genres of music over the years as a professional musician, everything from country to rock and roll to pop. Over the last decade, playing jazz is my primary art form that I play. Starting off, I grew up playing all sorts of music. I then, once I decided I was going to be a professional musician, I, studied at the Berklee College of Music, where I cut my teeth. Eventually going to New York University, where I got my master's in music. And after getting my master's, then, basically got my career started as a professional jazz guitarist. And then that's where the journey got started in about 2009. And that's where the journey started, and I'm still on that
and you're still
journey
there
today in 2022.
Okay, so the reason we're talking to you today is because you are going to be appearing at the Plymouth Public Library on Monday, March 7th. You're going to be giving a concert and a talk. You're going to talk to the audience all about jazz, all about music. And I asked you before we went on air about jazz, because jazz is the one form of music that a lot of people don't get, because a lot of it can be off the cuff. It can be jazz musicians just sitting together and creating something right from scratch without any music. And it's a little bit intimidating to people who don't understand it. So what is the passion behind jazz?
The passion behind jazz is, the spontaneity, being in the moment, and that you can create something from nothing. The interaction that you have with the musicians on the spot, that it can go from one groove to another groove, that anything can happen, that a solo can start from something that's, very, very quiet and then go to such a high energy, interaction. And that at any moment's time that you can tell a story, and express something that you didn't even know you had within you. And the passion is also that you really are, telling a story from your heart, and not just playing a piece of music. So you really are expressing, I guess you could say, your soul or your true self, instead of just playing what's on the page.
Got it. Okay. It's very individualized and very movable. It's malleable. It almost reminds me of a bunch of artists that get together and paint together on a canvas and come up with whatever they come up with, and it's beautiful. That's really a cool thing. So when people go to this event at the library, what will they expect for the hour that you're there?
They'll expect a couple of different things. Myself and my colleague Michael Feinberg, a great jazz bassist, also quite world-renowned. We're going to be playing quite a wide variety of selections, not just jazz standards, but also some contemporary piece of music, some non-jazz pieces that the audience will know. And we're going to be playing and also talking about the process of improvisation, how this music is made on the spot. Because, as you mentioned, people go to hear jazz and they say, how is this made? How are they making this music up on the spot? And we're going to explain how that process is done in a rather simplistic way. So when they leave this concert, they're going to say, okay, now I get it. It's not that complicated to understand. So whether they're at a restaurant or when they're going, maybe they can go to a jazz club now, and they'll finally be able to, really appreciate jazz for what it is. And I feel like it's my responsibility, because this is my passion. This is the art I believe in. This is the music that, is everything to me, is my life's work, that it's my responsibility to share, not just share the art with, the world, but also share how it's, created and the process behind it.
Right, that's a beautiful answer. That's perfect. Now, you also have a music academy, Monmouth Music Academy, that you founded in New Jersey. And you outline on your website all about how your theory behind how you teach music to children and others, I assume. What is it about teaching music that pulls at your heart, as well as performing it?
Well, and it goes the same for jazz. If music is, my passion, it's, music is transformative. Playing an instrument is transformative. Learning the process of music and music theory, there's so much behind it. It changes the way you think, just becoming a more well-rounded person, the way you see the world, the mathematics behind it and the theories. So it's just what I believe, and it can really change the way you think, and how, not just the way you see the world or the way you see people. And so it's just, I feel like it's my responsibility to share this with everybody, and it's what I'm passionate about. So I decided to, I was going to open up a school, and I decided to do it in my hometown. We opened the school in 2019, and it's been about 3 years. We're very happy there. All of our teachers, are great educators, very passionate about what they do, and I'm very happy there.
And so you have students that can learn all kinds of things, and you opened right before the pandemic hit, so I assume that you had to transform from in-person to virtual learning. How did that go, and how did the students react?
It was very hard, because the business, it was right when we started cooking, like we finally feel like we got off and running, and this, we started getting a buzz in the neighborhood, and I felt like I could finally breathe after all the work we put in the first 6 months, and it was really challenging. But I'm a person who just tries to, kind of accept the things I can control. And I said, we're just going to switch over to virtual. And believe it or not, I actually did it before we even shut down, because I was really concerned about the safety of my mother, because she's high risk and she worked there at the school. So I actually pulled the plug before the state did, and I said, and didn't leave anyone the choice. I said, we're doing it. And we switched over to virtual. We lost about half our students because they didn't want to even have that option. But we moved over, and it was very difficult. And some students actually flourished virtually.
Yeah.
Believe it
Yep.
or not, they
And-
were
and it
able
gave
to
them an
really.
outlet.
Some students
Yeah.
are actually learn better over the computer. You have to teach completely differently.
Yeah, right.
Because you can't actually play in time with the students.
Yeah.
So you have to learn completely differently.
Right. So in closing, you've been lauded many times as a wonderful premier jazz musician. And so what can we expect to take away after we visit you at the Plymouth Public Library on March 7th?
I think it's going to be a very enjoyable concert for those who attend. I think that we're going to create many jazz fans for those who enjoy music, who have never seen a jazz concert before. I think that there are going to be those who enjoy guitarists who are going to enjoy the concert. I think that we're going to, people who will go to the event will hopefully come back and see me. And I think I will create some new fans for myself as well. And I think it's just going to be a wonderful program.
All right, excellent. So Abe Ovadia, thank you so much for joining us today. And we look forward to March 7th at the Plymouth Public Library. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Abe and Julie. The music you've been listening to during this interview is Abe's original music. Don't miss seeing him live in person and free at the March 7th event at the Plymouth Public Library. For more information about Abe Ovadia, visit abeovadia.com. Last year, the Plymouth Bay Cultural District and Plymouth Harbor Knits organized Yarn Pop, a public art installation of fantastic creations displayed at featured locations throughout the town of Plymouth. The Cultural District is delighted to announce that the installation is coming back. This year, it has a seaside theme, and they need your help. If you're a knitter, crocheter, or a felter, you are invited to please take part in this fun community collaborative art project. To sign up, visit PlymouthHarborKnits.com and click on Yarn Pop by the Sea. From there, you'll see a list of suggested nautical themed patterns, or choose your own. Plymouth Harbor Knits is offering discounts on materials for this project, where all completed items must be dropped off by April 4th. All ages are welcome. To sign up, email PlymouthHarborKnits@gmail.com. For several years now, museums worldwide have participated in a campaign called Number 5, seeking to promote the public knowledge of at least 5 female artists. In honor of this campaign, and in celebration of Women's History Month, the Duxbury Free Library invites you to 15 women painters throughout the centuries on March 10th from 7 to 8 p.m. Presented by art historian Martha Chiarciaro, this program will explore the last 5 centuries and highlight some of the tremendous contributions of women artists like Georgia O'Keeffe, Artemisia Gentileschi, Lavinia Terlink, Elizabeth Vigée-Lebrun, and Mary Cassatt, among others. This event can be viewed on the big screen at the library's Landman Room or from the comfort of home via Zoom. To register, visit the Duxbury Free Library website. We're fortunate to live near the ocean and be able to enjoy our beaches in different ways year-round. As we ease out of winter, getting out to the shoreline for a beach cleanup with friends and family is community building and beautifying. Here's Erica Christensen with Your Green Space, keeping our beaches clean.
The damage human debris has on our coastlines can be devastating. And multiple studies have shown that beach cleanups raise public awareness more effectively than public education programs that do not involve participation. Volunteers say the cleanups make them more mindful in how they manage their own disposables. On this episode of Your Green Space, we walk along the shores with coastal resident Amanda Ewell and her environmental analyst father from Mass DEP, Carlos Fragata, while we talk about the importance of keeping our beaches clean. Let's get started.
A beach cleanup is anywhere from a casual to an organized event where you just take a few minutes to pick up some trash from one of your local waterways. I live here in Plymouth, and so there's plenty of beaches where there's trash to be picked up. I personally have little beach cleanups like every week at least. I think it's just a simple act that us as humans who are part of the environment can take to help to minimize the negative impact that we have as a species on our habitats in our environment.
A beach cleanup can be many things. It can be just simply going on the beach and picking up trash, or it can be an organized beach cleanup where you can log the trash that you do find and then have data to back up how dirty the beach actually was, how polluted it was. And pollution would be anything that's not natural to the environment. If you imagine going out to the beach, especially after a storm, you're gonna find a lot of trash. And then you pick up the trash, you might log it, so that way you know how much you picked up. But tomorrow might be a totally different day. You might not find any trash really coming in, or substantially less trash. So it's good to get more than just one snapshot in time. It's good to keep logging how much trash you're getting to see if there are any trends. After storms, winter versus summer, those all are important timelines.
No one really wants to be playing with their kids at the park and then find a bunch of trash of various sorts. And so there is obviously the positive impact of having a beautiful nature space to enjoy. The main goal is to keep things that are not found in the ocean out of the ocean. So there is a massive impact on any species that would confuse trash for food or become entangled in the trash or just generally become confused by it. Like a plastic bag looks really similar to a jellyfish. Even a bag of dog poop that looks just like seaweed. Keeping the environment as close to its natural state is the goal.
Of course, beach cleanups will help by keeping the beaches clean so that there's less pollution on the beach. How that helps people? Well, it helps people in many ways that may not be obvious. Plymouth is a tourist town, so ecotourism is the new buzzword. If you have a clean beach, you can promote it, but if it's not very clean, don't go there. For example, Minnesota has the cleanest sidewalks I've ever seen. Massachusetts, not so much. Not trying to put down Massachusetts, but it's really all about empowering each person like myself and you to go out and not dump trash, and if you do have trash, bring it out with you, to clean the beaches, but also log the trash so that you can go to the selectmen and create a bylaw, or so they can have management decisions made based on science.
The trash, it comes from humans, and it comes from just everyday people. I like to imagine that all the trash that I find, it found its way there accidentally, but I'm sure there are some cases where that's not the case. So it can be from individual consumers, or there's also a contribution from the fishing industry. So it's not uncommon to find ropes or traps, and also from industrial sources. So that could be through boats or planes, or any case where a company is using the ocean as a place to deposit their trash.
Also, beach cleanups, by keeping pollution down, besides for humans, keeps animals from eating the trash or getting tangled up in it. It's foreign to the animals, they're not used to seeing it, so they think it's natural, they think it's gonna break down. But trash really only breaks down by biodisintegration. It just gets smaller and smaller until something eats it and then ends up getting in its system.
So it's all about the life cycle and the food chain. So when plastic and other types of trash enter the ocean, they can easily be mistaken for food, or they break down into those small microplastics, which are sometimes even imperceptible to animals, and they are consumed by animals of all sizes.
But think about eating cotton balls. It fills you up, but it doesn't do anything for you. So it really weakens you in the long run, because you could have been eating real good food. You are what you eat, so to speak.
And so what happens is that larger animals eat the smaller animals that have consumed plastic, and then even larger fish eat those smaller fish until you get up to the types of fish that humans eat, like for instance tuna. That fish has eaten the smaller fish, which has eaten a smaller fish, and so on and so forth. As that accumulates, it becomes a large amount of plastic that is inside of the animals that a lot of humans consume for food.
So that's called bioaccumulation. Then when we eat the tuna, we get all of that extra energy that was brought into that one fish from all the many other fish that collected small amounts of the pollution. And now we get it in our systems. And we're not used to it. Too much is harmful to us. So in that sense, it hurts us. So for example, If you feed a duck bread, the duck's going to be full, and now it's going to be a little weaker because it doesn't have the energy that another bird had with seeds or other natural vegetation they could eat. So now the bird gets lazy and stays around, a weaker animal to make a weaker species in the end. So the same with animals. If they're not strong, they get sick, then they die. So any animal that has to fight anything, even fishing, and you hook a fish, you bring it in, that tires the fish out, there is a chance that it could die. There's a chance that it gets weaker. So it does harm animals. So plastic can do the same thing. If you eat something that's harmful for you, it might take a long time for it to make an effect and you won't even know it.
It is common for fish to have their entire insides to be filled with trash or plastic when they are dissected after being captured.
I think that any trash affects every aspect of our lives in one way or another. For example, fishermen might get snagged on a shipwreck. No one cleaned it up. We're not required to clean them up for some reason. We have to prioritize it, make it something we want to do. I know that shipwrecks could provide habitat for animals, but the point is, when people fish near a bridge and the fishing line breaks, not all fishermen go grab the fishing line. If they lose a lure, they don't look for it because it's not worth anything, it's disposable. Fishermen have nets that will get hung up on natural features such as rocks and other artifacts, even shipwrecks, and it rips the net and the net stays behind. No one goes after it. I know whales are being affected by fishing line, and we know that there are right whales that are getting impacted by that. Now in terms of the fish, the herring, they may be affected by some of the trash because they're now having to wade through trash in some areas instead of getting the food they need readily available to them.
The ocean is encompassing of the entire globe, so there's really no way to track where trash will start and end. And there are actually these gigantic, like, swirling patches of garbage throughout the ocean. I've never seen one, but I can only imagine, like, it would be so heartbreaking to see. So due to the currents, the trash accumulates in different areas.
The trash can get into the ocean many different ways. It can come from some of the cities with combined sewer overflows, or CSOs, where there's rainfall that comes into the sewer system with sewage that comes in the system. When it floods, it overflows so it doesn't come up in someone's basement. It goes into the ocean. Now once it goes into the ocean, the wind and currents will drive the trash to wherever the tides come in and out. You'll see trash coming up along the high tide line, or the seaweed line, or the rack line, or any other tide line like the spring and neap tides twice a month, or storm tides. So trash will just either drop out because it's heavy and stay on the bottom, or get carried out to sea, or maybe get carried into shore and then land on the beaches, get stuck in the seawalls, or get stuck in the seagrass. Sometimes styrofoam just gets all over the marshes.
Planning a beach cleanup is so easy. So like I mentioned, they can be casual. Like for instance, I simply pick up trash every time that I notice it when I'm outside or at the beach. And there's a second way to have a beach cleanup, which is to organize an event. There is an organizing body called Coast Sweep. They were founded in 1987, and when I was a little kid, I started coming out to the beach cleanups with my dad. And so all you need to do to organize a beach cleanup is to just register, and it's so easy now. They even have an app where you can track the trash. But all you do is register, you spread the word, get your friends if you're involved in any community groups like yoga studios or 4-H clubs or school sports teams, anything like that. You just get a bunch of friends together and you come on the certain date, and there is a process to go through when you come to the beach cleanup day.
One of my old posts is from a beach cleanup in 1992, but I started in 1998, a year after coastal management started doing this. And I just want to show you the difference in the forms. I'm going to kneel down so I can grab things so they don't fly away on me. But these are the new forms. This is a form that you can use tick marks, hash marks. But years ago, the forms were different, and they were more designed in terms of what kind of material: plastic, styrofoam, glass, rubber, metal, paper, wood, and cloth. Why? Because years ago, we thought the trash came from fishing vessels exclusively. Pipe, thread, protector, light sticks when you catch the fish later, sacks, containers that once held oil. You pour the oil in the engine and you throw it overboard. You put it in a bag and then eventually the bag rips open. And styrofoam buoys, pallets. But look, it's changed to grocery bags, paper bags, cups and plates, bottle caps, plastic bottles. What? Plastic bottles? We used to use thermoses when we were kids. And this isn't something that just people that are a lot older do. This is common sense. So this is all about understanding why the data is so important. If we didn't have this data on these data sheets in 1987, we wouldn't have known that in 2021 we need to be looking at fishing buoys and pots and traps versus cigar tips versus cigarette butts. That's so specific. And over time, we've seen that plastic is on the top. And one of the plastic things is the cigarette butts. I see so many people throwing out cigarette butts. Some are still lit. It just blows my mind as to why people would do that. And that's irresponsible because it's out of sight, out of mind. Someone else will pick it up, maybe. But think about it. All these animals that are out here, these birds, they see a cigarette butt and they'll try to eat it. Birds are intelligent, but they're designed to not have man-made materials in front of them, teasing them, fooling them. I've got a poster here which shows all the kinds of trash that you'll find, that I have found. These six-pack rings, sea turtles get stuck in them. Birds, like seagulls, for example, get stuck in them. And maybe they get eaten too by whales. There are all kinds of different plastic items shown here. Balloons are terrible because balloons look like jellyfish as well. And they go flying out and they land somewhere else. The strings, fishing line gets tangled up. As a scuba diver, this is deadly. For fish, the same thing. This will cut through an animal. As the animal grows, it'll cut through the skin like a tree. If you wrap a tree with a wire, it's going to expand and swallow it. But animals will just end up dying. They'll have a lesion that will get infected. Plastic stirrers. We don't need stirrers. They have stainless steel ones. As a matter of fact, when you drink a drink, you actually taste more of the drink when you don't use a straw. See? Learning something new every day, aren't you?
I am.
No, we don't need plastic spoons unless you're going to reuse them. But why not just use a spoon like I do? Have a stainless steel one I keep in my lunchbox. Yes, it's kind of a pain to wash it, but eventually it's a habit, and now I don't go anywhere without it.
There's so many benefits to beach cleanups because, first of all, it just feels good to do something that's giving back to your community and your environment. It's also a great opportunity to get together as a group and to be part of a bigger movement and have a positive impact. It can be a social aspect, and so it's just one way to have a positive ripple effect. Someone sees you doing a beach cleanup, they might ask what it's about, and then you spread the word, and then the next time they're at the beach, they might think, okay, I'll pick up a few pieces of trash. So it has a huge impact on your personal worth and being part of a community too. Keeping
our beaches clean, especially in Plymouth with its eco-tourism push. I came to Plymouth because I fell in love with Plymouth underwater. But it's a good enough reason to promote the town's logging of trash through coastal management because the data has been collected since 1987. A lot of times trash is looked at as someone else's problem, but really is our problem. And I really don't want to go out every year and collect trash or every day and collect trash. I think people really need to take ownership of themselves. Parents telling the children, adults telling younger people telling older people that are set in their ways. It's all habits. We all have habits. It's all about changing what we do. And I know for a fact that when I change something I do, sometimes it's bad initially because I don't want to do it. But guess what? In the end, I'm so glad I did it.
If you love going to the beach or you live by the ocean, as I do, then why not take just a couple extra seconds to pick up trash in the places where you're already going and spread the positive impact.
Experts say that by 2050, there may be more plastic than fish in the sea. Others say 90% of our coral reefs may be dead, waves of mass marine extinction unleashed, and our seas left overheated, acidified, and lacking oxygen. 2050 is not far off, but we can still work towards a better future. Beach cleanup projects are a safe way to restore oceans and clear debris from the beaches. They also give experts a chance to educate the public on ocean conservation. So the next time that you find yourself on the beach or on a walk near the water, bring a glove with you and take an extra minute just to look around. By disposing extra debris that would have otherwise found its way into the water, you'll be playing your part in making the difference that our oceans and our world needs. That's your green space for now. I'm Erica. See you next time.
Are you a true crime fanatic in search of your next fix of murder, fraud, and felonies? The Plymouth Public Library's on the case. The library's True Crime Book Club meets on the second Monday of every month to discuss a different true crime selection. March's book selection is The Ice Pick Surgeon: Murder, Fraud, Sabotage, Piracy, and Other Dastardly Deeds Perpetrated in the Name of Science by Sam Keene. Ranging from Cleopatra to Thomas Edison to the Manhattan Project, this selection reveals how the sacrifice of ethics for progress has been a part of the story of science from its beginnings. The next book club meets on March 14th from 6 to 7 p.m. in the boardroom at the Plymouth Public Library. Visit the library's website to register. World-renowned musical trailblazer, guitarist, vocalist, and songwriter Joe Louis Walker is coming to Plymouth. On March 12th, the Blues Hall of Fame inductee and four-time W.C. Handy Blues Music Award winner will grace the stage at the beautiful Spire Center with his soul-testifying vocals and brimstone blues. Joining him will be New Age blues musician Natalia Bonfini, a talent known for her incredible range and storytelling. The doors open at 7 p.m. Visit thespirecenter.org to learn more. That wraps the 100th episode of Local Matters. This program, like all of Plymouth area community television, is committed to highlighting what's good and good to know in our community, because there is so much of it. Thank you for watching. From all of us at PACTV, have a safe and happy week. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. We are grateful for your attention. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe to The Local Scene here and share everywhere. Thank you, friends.